So
take one, weak ankles.
Right, so this is an exercise for your posterior tibialis, and you've been practicing this now for about 2 weeks. And what we're finding is that you have some compensation patterns, and we're just starting to eliminate those and to see how that feels. So what future you should be doing is setting up points of contact. So ways that you can do that, right? So you have your toes together, you have blocks on the outside that you're going to keep together. And what you can do is actually just create a little stand or something here, where, or even something here, where you don't want to be pressing in.
Okay.
I like this for you because, as many people do, you jut forward. So I have a point of contact here right underneath your belly button, and then in between your shoulder blades, okay? So we're going to try not to lose contact. Please use the wall. Don't feel like you're doing something better. It's not going to make a difference. And keep in contact. Good. Right? Yeah. So keep, yeah. And just raise up, even if it's just a smidge. Keep your knees straight. Keep in contact with both of my hands. See how you're losing contact here? So it's just a compensation. So come get into contact with my hand. You're pressing, so you see how you're pressing back now? So you want to go deeper onto your toes, activate your glutes, and activate your stomach, and then go ahead. Good. Now you see how you're going back. So what you want to think about is when you're coming up, you're going to keep this active, so you're just dumping back this way. It's almost as if you're doing a little back bend to try to keep in contact with me. So instead, if you notice as I do this, you're just coming up and down. Look, see how nothing moves? Yeah, good. Perfect, much better. You see the difference there? Now that you're rocking forward, so keep in contact. So you did really good, just slow it down. Keep your hands on the wall, please. Stop it. You're not ready for that, and you're not doing yourself any favors. So you're just rocking back and forth right now. That's all you're doing. So round your toes into the floor, squeeze your glutes, and activate here, okay? Now just start to come up by articulating your ankle. Good. That was better, okay? So that is 2 feet. Now let's try on the wall, which is harder.
And on the wall. Right.
Okay, so you're going to take your toe. So lift this knee. Yeah, great. Now, again, you're going to lift the knee.
This.
Inside knee.
Oh, lift it?
Lift your inside knee, yeah. So we're just going to, again, keep points of contact, okay? So you want to make sure that that ankle stays against that block.
Am I keeping it lifted?
Your knee?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you should be doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So keeping this rotating inward and keeping your hips stable. Good. Yeah. Good. So you're starting to rotate this hip forward. Yeah. Good. Good. Make sure you keep your heel onto the block.
Okay.
So normally what I like to do is take my shoulder, bring it up, so that when I come up, I'm not dragging on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through as the walls.
Okay, great. Yeah, so bring the knee even higher. There we go. Good. Heel onto the block. That's why we have points of contact, so you know when you're losing it. And it should come from here. That internal rotation. Yeah, good. Yeah, there we go. So you've lost points of contact on your big toe. You're just pushing against the wall and pushing outward.
Okay.
You see that?
Yeah.
Cool. So what that means is that instead of, I know, it's totally different once you start to isolate. So so what's happening is you're pushing like this. And really, you should just be thinking about the internal rotation. Okay? And if you need to, you can come in closer to the wall slightly. Right? Try that actually. Just come into the wall just a little bit more. Good. And we'll correct these points of contact for you. Good. And go. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. You see how hard that is? Use your glutes, use your abs. And breathe. Good. So you're losing points of contact with this block, so make sure that you're internally rotating and keeping this hip behind you. So you're starting to rotate in towards the wall with your hips. Yes, So push forward with this knee. Pushing forward with this knee. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it still work? Is it working the calf too, though?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, so these are isolations for the posterior tibialis, which is literally behind this bone.
Okay.
Right? And it's a muscle that when you have really weak ankles just doesn't get worked.
Yeah.
Right? So again, we're activating your peroneals, right? These muscles on the outside here in extension. So instead of allowing everything to collapse in with the pronate, we're actually creating that internal rotation, isolating that posterior tib. And of course the fibularis as well, like the peroneals. And then actually asking you to activate them when they're in a functional range of motion rather than just a shortened, collapsed kind of, Kelly Starrett says meat hook. You like meat hook yourself into some kind of activation, right? So instead of using the actual muscle, you're just shortening the system, the joints, into each other to try to create stability, but really what you're doing is you're compressing all your joints down and not actually using your musculature. Okay? So great. So now we've just optimized those two movements. You realize you have to lift your knee when you didn't realize that before. And so that's where you'll go moving forward.
Okay.
So just finding points of contact. And again, you want to think about also even keeping a point of contact behind you. So even if it's like even a wall, like if you're in a corner, making sure that your butt is against the wall and not pushing into it. But also, this is a really common thing. So it's your body's way of trying to unwind so that, because here you are and you're using these internal rotators, and because you have that turnout, right, because you have that external rotation, and you turn off your glute med and glute in, doing this is activating and isolating those, right? And you're doing that at the end of your walk, right?
I mean, does work shoes have any part of that?
So if you're...
Just because I wear work shoes all the time.
And work shoes, you mean like dress shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I walk in the city all the time.
Yeah,
so I
so
don't know if that's causing...
you're compressing your toes in, unless you're using a wider toe box shoe, which you can get. But yeah, so remember, your feet have what, 33 joints in them? Because your feet have two functions. So one is to create stability on uneven surfaces. So when I'm here, what needs to be able to happen is that all of my toes need to be able to spread over rough terrain, like if I'm out in a forest. And then I need to be able to propel myself forward. So I need to be able to take force from my abs and direct it through structures into the ground. So what it does is it actually becomes kind of like a shunt, so that all of these muscles, when they're contracted and functional, right? So not like this, but like this. So that's much more structured, and the line of force is really stable, right? Now, if I did this, I can't support all of the different lines of force, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like, if this had a big kink in it, and then I wanted to put weight on it, it wouldn't be stable, it wouldn't do its job. And that's kind of the same thing as the ankle and the foot.
Right.
So here it needs to be nice and wobbly, and then here it has to act like, almost like another bone. Right?
Yeah.
And so if it can't do those two things, the muscles that are between the bones, all these tiny stabilizers, can't do their job.
Got it.
Yeah, a lot of shoes create that kind of issue.
Yeah, I figured it was a,
And then of course you have your fat pads, right, in your heel, and then actually in this area here and here. And if you're walking without any kind of insole, over time, it can really wear down. And it happens with age. You lose fat, and you'll really feel that in the bottom of your feet, and then you'll start to look weird.
Got it.
You're not really old enough where like most people your age will experience that.
A little awkward, yeah.
Nobody wants to walk weird. All right, great. So.
All right, this is good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And you can feel the difference.
Huge.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how you're doing with the exercises on the floor, and then let's go into a slip stop bridge.
Okay.
Great. And we'll just do this.
Still compensating on this one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's why you're here.
Yes.
And that's okay. Everyone kind of does. Even me, when I don't like video record myself. I don't understand why this isn't staying. Oh, I wonder if it's this one. Let me see something. Ha ha ha, I found it. Cool, good. There we go. Okay, so let's just back up a little bit because I feel like your arms won't extend away that much. Make sure that we can see it. Great, okay. So let's start.
Good.
Okay, yeah. So what are the points that you're focused on?
Well, my toes.
Mm-hmm. So all of your toes are on the floor.
Mm-hmm. All of them.
Pinky toe to big toe. Good. Then what?
And then am I rolling my...
Your belly is off the floor and your hips are pressing into the floor as much as possible. That's the action.
Mm-hmm.
And then what?
And then I'm concentrating on squeezing the back, the middle of my back.
Great. And your elbows are straight.
I think it's spasm.
Yeah, yeah. That's your lat. Sure. You're extending your lat. Okay? Great. Let's do it. Awesome. Oh, that looks so much better than the last time. I can tell you've been working. Keep those elbows straight. Good. Keep going. Keeping those toes down. I want those pinky toes on the ground. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, you can really see how you shut into that right hip. Try to press that left hip down into the floor and get your belly away from the ground. Belly away. Toes down. Toes down. Good job. Yes. That looked great. That looked great. Yes. There we go. Awesome. Okay. 45. I know. But isn't it fun to know how weak you are?
Yes.
And that there's something that you can do to start to strengthen.
Exactly.
All right. There we go. Toes. So get the belly away. Yeah. Good. That looks way better. So I'm just standing kind of at your feet. Yep, good. Keep going. So try to get that belly, suck that belly away from the floor. So I see you kind of arching your back a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. Now do it. Oh, there we go. You can really see where the action in that second trap really comes in. Good job. So think about dropping your shoulders down, drawing them down, and then lifting them. Okay. Keep that arch out of your back. Oh, wait till we get into the transverse abdominis isolation. Ooh, you're gonna be like, I can't even move. All right, and let's go out to a T. No. Good. So try to get that lower curve out of your back. You were able to do it. Not sticking your butt out, so your butt in. And then drawing your belly away from the floor. Yes. Good. Toes, all of your toes should be on the floor. Really pressing them into the floor. There we go. Drawing down with that left shoulder in particular and coming out to a T. So you're kind of going back into that 45-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're down here.
Oh, down there?
Yeah, that's a T.
Oh.
Yeah. Get your thumbs to the ceiling. So you're rotating, almost like you're trying to put your thumbs towards your feet.
Okay.
Yeah, like rotating your arms though.
Like that?
This.
Okay.
Okay, try that. Straighten the elbows. And I'm gonna stand over you, and I want you to have your arms touching my legs. There we go.
Good?
Yep, and then just make sure you keep them on my legs. Okay, go. So you can do this with the blocks. Actually, let's put the blocks there so that this is something that you can do on your own, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Keep in contact with the blocks. Go ahead. Toes down. Good. Belly tucked. Get your belly away from the ground. Belly away from the ground. Good. Yeah. Perfect. Good. Awesome. Good. Keep going. Those elbows straight. This looks great. Come on. You just love dumping into there. We're gonna get there, but not today. But that TBA we gotta work on.
Oh my god.
All right. Let's. I know you're like, okay.
It's crazy. Sorry, I just want to get that.
Good. I mean, that's what exercises are for. I know, right? All right. So the next thing we're gonna do is what is called a slip sock bridge. So you can do this with socks on. I'm just gonna do it with this sheet here.
Okay.
You can also do it with a sheet. So what you're gonna come down onto the floor, and you're gonna lift up into a bridge. Come to the highest bridge that you can.
Okay.
Okay. And you're gonna take your legs out, and then you're gonna bring them back in without dropping your hips. Out, in, out, in. Okay?
Yeah.
You're looking at it like, fuck.
No. No, it's just amazing how like weak my lower back is too. Like that's part of it. You know, it's like
Right.
you're
So
you're strengthening, like you're trying to strengthen, like your glutes are getting tired, and then your back's starting to like.
yeah. So then what happens is you jump this way.
Yeah, I know.
Not everybody.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start to kind of collapse your lower lumbar.
Yep.
To again try to like cobble yourself into this Frankenstein of a position
Yeah.
that's not really
Yeah.
stable or
Yeah.
supported.
Yeah.
It's just collapsed and compressed onto it. So you're like, okay, this kind of looks like it,
Yeah.
but you're not using your muscles. You're impacting your bones.
Your bones,
Yeah.
which is why my back was hurting after I was doing like squats yesterday. To go, like for this bad knee here.
Sure, yeah. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna bring your heels in. Good. Now, from here, so you're gonna keep your knees, see how they're kind of coming out? Just make sure that they stay parallel and above your toes.
Yeah.
And then just uncurl your toes. Good. Keep them on the floor though, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Now just bring your feet out slightly.
Like this way?
Yeah,
Okay.
Go. Now bring them in.
Holy cow. Without cheating.
Without cheating, keeping your hips up.
Okay. What should I concentrate on squeezing to
Your
get the
hamstrings
back? Okay.
and your glutes.
Wow. How did you do it? See, I gotta do one leg at a time.
Yeah, right. Well, that's because then you're not using your hands.
What am I using?
A whole bunch of stuff. Mostly it's like weight. You're like, okay, I'll
Yeah.
stand on this leg
Yeah.
and then take weight off of this so I can kind of
Right.
scooch in.
Right, I'm scooching.
Yeah.
Okay.
So come out just to here, and then back in.
I can't even do it.
Sure. So it's
Is that-
okay.
is
Just
that right?
come out to me. Literally, it's gonna be like, go ahead, come to me,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then back in. Squeeze your hamstrings, lifting your butt up towards the ceiling and squeezing it.
I can't, I feel like I'm,
Isn't that wild?
yeah.
All right.
But are you not surprised or?
No, not surprised. That's
Okay.
why I'm giving this to you and why I told you it would be really hard.
Alright.
So put your butt here. Now I
Okay.
don't want you to rest on it completely, right?
Okay.
But I want you to use it if
Yeah.
you need to. So bring your feet out slightly.
Okay.
Just bring them out.
Uh-huh.
And now begin to let your glutes kind of go down, your hips go down as you bring your hamstrings in. Good. Right? So it's
Yeah.
just like a little help.
It's just, yeah.
Right? So go back out again.
Okay.
One of the things that you're doing, and again, this is your rotators, is you're letting your knees dump away.
Yeah.
What you want to think about is your knee always tracking over your second and third toe, no matter where you are or what you're doing. If you're here, your feet are parallel, you track over your second and third toe. You don't want to collapse in. If they're out here, track over your second and third toe.
Right.
Okay? So go ahead. Bring it out. Just like an inch.
Well, I'm like further out now, right? It's already
Yeah, so bring it on in.
Okay.
Bring it in.
This?
Yeah, good, good.
Is
Yeah.
that okay? Yeah.
Perfect. That's why it's there.
All right.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
And so the next step for this
Yeah.
would be to do it this way. Lift up, then to do it this way. Right?
That's gonna make it easier now. Really?
Yeah, because it's harder for you when you drop down. So if I were to ask you to do this and say, okay, just drop your hips completely, and
Yeah.
actually I'll show you.
Okay.
Lift up. So stay there. Let your feet go out. Now you can totally drop your hips down if you want to bring your feet in. Go ahead.
It's like this.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's easier now.
Right.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when I have you a little bit higher, you're still doing the motion where you're contracting while your hip flexors and quads are in extension. So essentially what we're doing is mimicking this.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So that's what we're trying for.
Okay.
And that's why I have this block underneath you, so that at least you can start to practice that motion without so much resistance, because your hamstrings are just fucking weak,
Yeah.
because you're not using them correctly.
Right. I did hamstrings yesterday, and it's like I use like the lightest weight, and it almost hurts.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I'm like waiting for a hamstring to like rip apart.
right. Yeah, right. And so this is a really great way to start to get them into functional motion.
Okay.
And you're not using any weight at all,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Yeah. So I need to get a block.
You need to
One
get
block.
two blocks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you need those points of contact.
Got it.
Great. Awesome. Do you have any questions for me? So that's just the little addition to it.
Yeah. It's just gonna take time. It sounds like I just need to and do this every day. Right?
You need to do it every day, yeah.
Okay.
So, do you have, because while we're on the video, do you have any questions for me as far as anything that you're doing, or you're like, oh, I just noticed this, or is there a way to do anything?
No, I think the hamstrings I always have weak hamstrings.
Sure.
And the ankles make sense.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so we're good.
Awesome. I might at the end give you some exercises with like a therapy
Okay.
for you to just start to do some trigger point work for yourself in very specific areas, like your first trap, and even if we find things in here, we can come back and kind of give you some of those
Okay.
exercises. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because I really think we're gonna find some trigger points.
Yeah. If I push here, I almost feel it.
Yeah, and I think that's where it might be coming from. And this is actually why I want you to see, because that's your first and second rib. And that's why I think you should see a chiropractor. Right?
Okay.
It might just be a little bit out of place.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Perfect.
Great, so face up for me and I'll be in just a second.
Okay.